guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be working on some smaller projects around the garden, mostly issues that I've noticed that need to be tackled. I just need to take the time to do it. We're going to start here in the Hartley with a little bit of houseplant repotting, plus I need to dismantle one of the arrangements we put together several months ago. It was well, let me show you. This is my walk of shame. Over to the centerpiece with the asparagus fern. It was such a gorgeous planter for so many months, and then look what happened to it. I was doing so well with it. It's a non-draining container, and I went over all of the, you gotta be careful when you're watering it, blah, 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 when we put it together. And I noticed it had a little bit too much water one day when I went to water it, and I didn't give it any more, but I decided, I'm gonna pop it outside so it has a chance to get really good airflow and dry out. All the plants still looked really good. And then I forgot about it. And it sat out there for a while until the Irish moss was dead and the cyclamen was dead. But the asparagus fern lives on. So what I want to do is I want to groom it up a little bit. There's a little bit that needs to come off, but largely the plant looks great. Irish moss it needs a lot more attention, a lot more water, and a bit more shade. I had it sitting right out in the gravel. And in my mind, I thought, oh, I'll just leave it out for a day. And that's fine. And then I'll pop it back in and it'll be great. And then it just slipped my mind because there was a lot going on. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. We just need to take it apart, repot the asparagus fern so that one can live happily. And then we don't have to look at the Irish moss that's all brown. And then these are the 3 houseplants I would like to repot today. This was part of the load that came this winter. It's part of the Proven Winners Leaf Joy collection. They're all 3 varieties of ficus. So we have the lily pads, which when it came in, it looked kind of sad, but it's put on a lot of growth. We've got the Anastasia. Klingon Anastasia ficus. And then the Roy ficus right there. And they are all super dirty, dusty. So I'm actually gonna take these outside. There's cobwebs on this one or something. I'm gonna take them outside. We're gonna give them a shower and repot them. I've got all my stuff in the gator over there. And the reason why everything is so dirty in here is because of that project back there. That area has been excavated. We are so close to being able to start buttoning it up and maybe getting some grass sprinklers in and getting the grass planted so that there's not so much powder dirt. But we get a lot of wind, and we've had a lot of wind this spring. And as you know, we try not to run the AC unit because I don't know how much it would cost to actually keep this cool inside. So we keep the doors open, the windows open, which means that the wind blows all that powder dust in here. So I'll come through every once in a while and do a very surface level clean, I'll wipe the table down, I will wipe the counter down back here. But these poor plants, and I've given them a shower a few times, but they just continually need it, and it'll kind of be that way until we are done back there. But it's so nice to be able to utilize this with the shades drawn without having to run the unit if we don't have to. So that is going to be our first project. But before we start in, I did want to give you, sound changes when you come out here. I wanted to give you a little update of the parterre garden because it's looking so pretty. So standing back here so you can get a really good look at it. Remember when we planted the bullseye salmon geraniums and the Supertunia Bordeaux in here? It was so stormy and windy, and these poor geraniums were so wimpy that the wind just laid a lot of them flat. And I was so worried for them, but boy, they have really put on a tremendous amount of growth. Look at that right there. And they were very red because they were stressed in the greenhouse. They needed to get out into the ground. So the leaves were very, very red, and they've really mellowed, and it's such Hi, Douglas. It's such a beautiful look. I am so thrilled. And, Aaron really likes it too. And that always gives me kind of an extra boost when he's like, yes, I love that color combination. It really is a striking one. I don't think you can go wrong with coral and purple, honestly. And I only put, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Supertunias in each quadrant, and I didn't really plan it out putting them in the same exact spot in every quadrant, but what I wanted them to do is just kind of intermingle with the geraniums, which I think they have beautifully. We also have, or did have, are they all gone? They're all gone. They all flew the nest. We had a mama robin build her nest in this lollipop, of all the trees, of all the big trees you can make your nest in. She decided on this little itty bitty lollipop. But it was so fun because it was at eye level to us, and we were always very respectful of her space. In fact, she probably started to get used to us a bit because we kind of peer in a little bit. But we got to watch the babies learn how to fly. It was just so fun. Anyway, I could not be more thrilled with the way this looks, and the urns up here. Let's take a look. We've got the Super Bells Double Twilight. Looking so happy. More of the bullseye salmon. geraniums is kind of a repeat so that we have the same color in this area, and then wire vine that's just like going nuts, but looking so delicate at the same time. I'm just a huge fan of that blend right there. All right, guys, I think what we're gonna do is carry out all 4 of the plants, the 3 that need to be repotted and the asparagus fern centerpiece. We're gonna bring them out here to the gator. I'm gonna drag a hose over so we can just really hose them down, and we're gonna just get them repotted out here and leave our mess out here, because I did just vacuum in there, not day before yesterday. I'm going to be using the organic potting mix for every single one that we're planting up, and I did bring over new pots. Whoop. There we go. They're not new, but you know, cleaned out pots and some saucers to put the plants in. I figure if I just tackle maybe like one corner in there at a time, repotting, and we'll get after it here pretty quick. Small, consistent efforts. Okay, they're all out here now. I did take everything out of the fern container. I wonder what the roots look like under there. It's gonna be interesting. I think I'm just gonna give them a little shower before we do the repotting. Oh, the cobwebs. Ah, geez. Look at this. Can you see the powder coming off of them? Oh, dirty. Okay, I think I'm going to tackle the fern first since it's sitting up here already. I'm going to pull or rip out the Irish moss so it's out of the way. There's a little bit of gravel too. I'm just throwing back into the driveway. That's where I got it to begin with. Okay. Ooh, they're kind of pokey, not going to lie. You know what? I got to get the soil moistened. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Okay, you guys have to see this close up. Hold on. Look at these roots. Oh my goodness. They all look very happy. They're nice and firm. But boy, I don't think anything would have much of a chance of surviving with that plant. It's probably sucking up all the moisture. My goodness, I don't know how. I'm gonna get that all worked out. I think I'm just gonna get it really, really wet and see if I can kind of manipulate the roots. I might have to get a bigger pot. I don't know if that's gonna cut it. Gonna have to kind of manhandle these, and I'm gonna rip part of it off. The side that doesn't have as many of those like bulb things, that's what they're called. I'm gonna rip that side off. Oh, perfect. Okay, we need a bunch more soil though. Oh my goodness, you guys, that looks so much better. I ran and grabbed a different ceramic pot that was maybe double the size of the one that I had chosen for this project. And I think it's gonna be a happy plant. Nice and clean. I'm just waiting for a second for the water to settle to make sure I didn't miss any like air pockets or anything. We can always add more soil if we need to. It looks like, yeah, we're gonna have a little settlage right there. See that? Yeah, I'll probably add a little more soil and water it in again just to make sure that those roots are going to be happy and there's no air around them. Okay, I'm going to let that settle one more time. These are going to be way more straightforward than that one was. But it always gives me a sense of satisfaction. It makes me feel some sort of relief when a plant is put into a pot where it's going to flourish instead of being so constricted. While that's settling, I think we should go clean the area where these plants were so that we can set this one back in there. Oh, the first one is done. It looks so good. Now, no matter how hard I tried to get it really clean, there's still a little bit of dirt on a couple of the leaves. So I'm just gonna let it dry off and it'll come off on its own. But oh my goodness, does this look so much better or what? Also, cleaning up the area underneath it helps too. Okay, 3 more to go. Untangle the roots just a little bit there at the bottom. I am so pleased with how all of these turned out. And because I had to go get that extra pot for the asparagus fern, I had an extra pot in the back of the gator. So I went ahead and repotted another one while I was at it. And that's the philodendron right here. Caramel Pluto is what it's called. And you can see where it's gotten too much sun. It got that before I thought to pull the shades. I don't know what in the world. But anyway, I think we got ahead of it and it's gonna be fine and it's gonna be happy now that it's in a new container down here, looking so perfect. And then this corner, oh my goodness. I like looking at it so much more now. So we've got the asparagus fern looking just so pretty up there. And look at the blooms. Look at how delicate that is. And then right below, we've got all 3 of the ficus. So I used, and I'm gonna have to do a little bit of extra cleaning here, I think. I used a taller pot for the Roy ficus and 2 similar sized containers for the other 2. I do think that I would probably like to reorganize and not have all of these in the same corner, but because this is where they lived before and they were happy here, I want to keep them in this location in their new pots while they acclimate. There's also a rosemary tucked back into this corner. It seems to like it back there. But as just kind of an overview in the Hartley right now, we've got our ivy topiary in here still. The amaryllis are always happy in here, always. This is a plant I took cuttings of. These are all from cuttings right here. I took them right off the plant and stuck them right in the soil in this container. And they have done so well. They're so thick, but look at this, they're so dusty. This one needs a bath too. And then, you know, we've got the eugenias here that we picked up this last winter and repotted. There's geraniums in here, just a whole bunch of fun stuff. Our tapeworm plant that we picked up this winter has grown a lot. And our kumquat is looking really good. It kind of defoliated there for a minute and now it's pushing a whole bunch of new leaves. But you can see I kind of shifted all the plants to the shadier side and left this part of the sunny windowsill open. The geraniums do okay right there, but it gets really hot and that's morning sun. I just can't wait until our Pacific Sunset maples, which we have 4 of. There's 1 here, they're on every corner. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I do plan on repeating 2 more right in front here, kind of flanking the walkway. And the grass will probably, I think we're gonna redraw the grass line and get the sprinklers run, I think in 2 weeks. So we will have grass on both sides and then 2 nice big maples, which I think will be perfect. I just feel like you have to in this area, and maybe it's like this in multiple areas, but in the summertime, it just needs to be shaded. A glass greenhouse just heats up so much. And unless you want to run your AC 24/7, you've just got to provide some shade. These help tremendously. And when you have all the doors and windows open, like right now, I'm kind of sweating, but it's probably because I was standing outside. We've got the fans running, but it is bearable unless it's like really, really hot, over 100 degrees in the middle of the afternoon. So if we can get some shade going, it'll be perfect. And they'll be all defoliated in the wintertime. So it'll allow a lot more light in should we ever want to start seeds or something like that in here. So it should work out either way. It's just an interesting learning curve. I've never gardened in a glass greenhouse before. So we're learning the ropes for sure. Okay, our next project, and did I already mention what it was? If I didn't, we're gonna be working on the containers by our kitchen entrance on that little patio. Okay, right up in this space right here, first of all, look at the flower. Well, first of all, look at the incredibles. Oh, they're awesome. Second, our annuals are really starting to fill in this space. I did pull all the Persian shields, they just were not hacking this area, and I put in the Wicked Witch Coleus. Right there, we've got the Sparkling Amethyst Superbena, the Blue Planet Ageratum we started from seed, and of course all the Maverick Quicksilvers. Are these the Apple Blossom or Quicksilver? I think these are the Quicksilver that we started from seed this winter. But these are the containers right here. You might remember when we did this project, oh my goodness, pink mint clematis are blooming, I love it. We repotted a bunch of things, repotted the big maple. Well, we had, after that project, we had a 27-degree night, and it just nailed these wee hostas that we have in 2 of the containers. This one looks a little bit worse. They are pushing new growth, but they just look a little bit crummy. And I've got some plants that I think would do really well in this area. Step in the shade. Oh, that look a little bit better. So I thought we would pop the hostas out, put something pretty in there, and put the hostas out in a flower bed somewhere. So there's that one, and then there is one in this container as well, but you can see, like, I groomed a bunch of it off too, but the frost, it just made a bunch of the leaves brown. So I would like to make those look a little bit better, because otherwise I think we'll be waiting a long time for those to rebound. One other thing is that this boxwood died. Look at that. It's crunchy. It was totally healthy. We moved it out of this container into this container, planted all around it. The plants are doing great. I don't think it was that frost that took it. I think maybe something else happened. Maybe it shocked it to move it. I don't know. Boxwoods are usually pretty tough that way, so I'm not real sure. So I'm hoping we can extract the boxwood whilst leaving these intact because we've got some gorgeous lamium, gorgeous violas here that I would like to keep in there, and we'll just fill it in with something different. So we need to go gather up some plants, probably get a kangaroo pop-up bag, get our supplies together, and then we can tackle that. Okay, I've got all my stuff over there ready to clean out the pots, but I wanted to show you these plants first. Look at this mix. Oh, the chartreuse, deep purple. So gorgeous and so fragrant. We've got coral, soft pink, and of course the beautiful fern texture. This is a Jurassic T-Rex wood fern. It is a perennial, and I thought this would be a really good one in place of the boxwood because it'll get quite large, like 3 by 3. But a couple of these annuals are brand new for next year, 2025. This is a coleus called Color Blaze Mini Me Chartreuse. So you get the same color as the Limestime coleus, but in a smaller package. It only grows about 12 to 20 inches tall as opposed to, I think, 24 to 48 inches tall. I think that's how big Limestime gets. I find that they get bigger if you have them in more light, and they stay on the smaller side if they're in more shade. This one also has more of a cut leaf, and it's more of a narrow leaf than Limestime. It's really pretty. And this one right here. This is a heliotrope, so beautiful, called Aromagica Purple. This one will grow 18 to 30 inches tall with these big, beautiful purple puffball blooms that smell amazing. I could smell these throughout my entire time that I was out there watering, and I love their thick, kind of deep green leaf that's very, like, I don't know, it's got a texture to it. And this one, unlike a lot of the older varieties of heliotrope, are supposed to keep blooming all the way from planting to frost. Now the tag, I think, does say full sun. It does. In our area, they would fry. I just know this from experience. I haven't obviously tested this variety, but I have tested other heliotrope that were supposed to take full sun, and it's kind of like the Persian Shield. That tag also says full sun, and they just fry in our area. So I'm a little bit nervous to try it out. So I think putting them in these containers back here is kind of a safe choice for those, and I think pairing this one with that one, it's going to be good. And then the other two things we have here are not new ones, but gorgeous ones. We've got the Double Delight Blush Rose Begonia. I love this color. And then we also have the Rocapoco Impatient called Apple Blossom. You can see that delicate soft pink, and they look like rosebuds. So beautiful. Okay, now let's get the containers cleaned out. Hopefully these aren't too much of a beast. Well, other than watering them in, I got all 3 containers on this patio planted and the Galloway urn on the west side of the house. They're all beautiful. I love them. This is the first one we tackled. I love it. We left the violas, perennial viola. I used the pruning saw to get the hosta out, which is probably the worst way to use a Felco pruning saw, but they work really well for things like this. And I decided to put just one of the chartreuse colored coleus in, even though they could potentially stay smaller than the heliotrope, because I want more of this color than I do of this. I want this to be more of an accent, so maybe it'll like work its way around and these will get bigger. I don't know, we'll have to see how it plays out. And then I use 3 of the Double Delight, what is it, Blush Rose begonias. Looks so fresh. And then over here on this side, I love this container. It just looks so delicate. So I was able to use, again, the saw to get the boxwood out, which the saw makes it so nice because then I don't really disrupt the root system on all the other things. I'm just able to cut right around the dead plant and get it out. And then I put fresh soil in the center, popped our fern in, which I love that look. It's so pretty. And then 3 of the heliotrope, one around the back side there. And then 3 of the apple blossom impatiens, which mirror the color of the lamium blooms. So pretty. And then this one I did identical to the first one, except for this one does not have the perennial violas in it. I kind of wanted to mirror the same look on either side. This spot is just so peaceful. I love it. Okay, let's cruise over here. There's my gator full of stuff I've got to go put away. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? I need to grab a tag. I think it's Frosted Violets Kufia. Am I right? Tempted, totally tempted Frosted Violets Kufia. It's a new one for 2025 coming out next year, and it's what I used as a centerpiece here. Look at this mix. Oh, this is such a beautiful container. I mean, the container itself is gorgeous. This is the Galloway urn from Unique Stone, but the Kufia is what we used here in the center. So Frosted Violets grows 8 to 16 inches tall, like 12 to 18 inch spread, and the hummingbirds love it, pollinators love it. I've noticed that in our greenhouse, so I can say that that's as much experience as I have. I've tucked a few of these in another urn, the Savannah urn, out in the south garden, and then I tucked some red ones in the back side of the south garden, and I've been noticing the pollinators on them like crazy. So, you know, even just in the limited time I've had them, I've noticed that. And then this is another new one for next year called Tiara Blue. We've already used this in a number of different applications out in the south garden. I had 3 left, so I was thinking perfect. I would love to see some purple over here, and I think that really brings some weight to the arrangement, especially with this big, glorious wire vine. My word, it's just the most beautiful spiller. I just love it. I like sweet potato vines, but I really have been loving this wire vine because it's just so much more delicate and so much more, I don't know, it's not commanding of your attention, but it still adds a tremendous amount of architecture to your arrangement. And it's not as fussy for water, which is really handy. So while I do like to use a sweet potato vine in some applications, I love to use the wire vine. It's kind of like how I like to use Gara as a centerpiece, almost in place of grasses at this point, because it's got that kind of airy movement. I don't know, I'm just into that right now. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have the moving water back behind us. I just love the spot. And you guys, that is gonna do it for today's projects. It was just nice to check some of those things off that I've just been looking at for a while and walking by, knowing I needed to do something, but just kind of gathering all those things up at once and getting them done is so nice. And I think we're gonna like looking at especially those containers around the kitchen area so much more. You know, we walk by that multiple times in a day, and I've just been putting blinders on to the damaged hostas for a couple of months at this point. So it kind of makes me kick myself when, you know, I don't know. I could have swapped those out earlier, but I thought that they would make a quicker comeback. They just didn't. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one.